Okay, hi, my name is Bernice Masharia. I'm from Momentum Sport Africa, and this is the second episode of Beyond the Game. We talked to David Murigi. David Murigi is a renowned golfer whose story stems all the way from being in a golf academy in the States, coming back to Kenya. We're talking about his highs, his lows, and essentially what his experiences have been beyond the game. You're going to go into this podcast listening to what made him tick and what made him crack, and how those two are great learnings and ingredients into the recipe of him becoming an amazing golfer and mentor for the next generation of junior golfers. Welcome. And today, our very amazing guest.
Well, David Murigi, otherwise known as Veedo across social media. Yeah, I'm a golfer. I'm a style enthusiast. I'm a lover of life. I think my story would be a bit different.
Okay.
Golf was never like a sport that I was initially drawn to.
So you do understand the dynamics of the game. You know what it means to lose. You know what it means to win. So David, beyond the game, who are you? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Game. It's the MSA podcast that is all about the business of sports and talks about the sports person's life away from the field. And today, our very amazing guest is David. And I will let David talk about himself for a minute and also tell us why he's one of the great.
Sawa.
David.
Well, my name is David, otherwise known as Veedo across social media. Yeah, I'm a golfer. I'm a style enthusiast. I'm a lover of life. And yeah, it's about me.
You must be David something.
Well, David Murigi.
Better.
Yes.
When they're looking you up, it's important.
Yes.
I believe the only one David who could hack this was in the Bible.
Fair.
Isn't it? Tell me,
Fair.
David.
Yeah.
Tell me about you and golf.
Yeah, so golf, you know, oftentimes I would like to say has become my identity.
Okay.
More so when I was growing up, you know, throughout my very early childhood, from about maybe 8 or 9 to throughout the whole of high school. But me and golf, we have a very peculiar relationship in the sense that it started off fine and well, got a bit rocky, and then now it's, you know what I mean? Now it's back to, okay, now we can love each other kind of thing. So, I mean, golf is one of those things that is very dear to me.
I think I would like us to talk about, you know, how you just described how it started, and then it got a bit rocky, and then it got into a high, and now you're in a love state.
Yeah.
Now I wonder whether it's like a marriage. You know how you get into pretty girlfriend, and like, I do want to see this person, and then now you settled. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so you see, initially, as a kid, as a child, even just as we grow up, we all dream, we all have aspirations. And for me, mine was to become a professional golfer. Funnily enough, though, I'll take you a bit back.
Okay.
Golf was never like a sport that I was initially drawn to.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where, okay, you take dad to the golf course, maybe you play 3 times a year. But when I started seeing a bit more success in the sport as a junior, you know, winning a few tournaments here and there, something starts to develop inside of you where you start to like, okay, maybe I can do this, huh? Maybe I'm a good golfer. And so that's where the initial love came through.
Yeah.
You know, through winning tournaments, through achieving some sort of success. Then, as I got into high school, I, you know, fell into a bit of a rocky kind of situation. I was not performing my best. I was not, you know, really at my threshold where I thought I was, at least. And so that kind of put me in a situation where I was like, okay, you know what? Golf,
pull back.
Let me just, you know, pull back because maybe it's no longer for me.
Yeah.
Then after that, you know, you have your own rebuttals, and then you come to a compromise, and you're like, you know what? Even though I might not take a particular path with the sport, doesn't mean I have to hate it. I still love it, and I can still play it.
What did that do for your mind? What did that do for your mental space? And because I can hear very strong elements such as, you know, hate it, love it. That means there has to be a battle in your mind.
100.
As to, So what was that like? And I'm still looking at the fact that you're still a very young person. And this is also coming from a space of, I wanted to become a professional golfer. What does that do to you as a person and as a sports person?
Psychologically, it's it's the biggest, huh? Because even now, it's something I still find myself fighting with.
Okay.
You know, should I or should I not? Should I or should I not? But psychologically, it takes a very big toll on you because, you know, everything is mental. And the thing with golf is golf is 90% in the mind, 10% skill. So in terms of mental, it was very hard. It was a very, you know, rebuttal. I was battling myself a lot. But, you know, we pushed through it. We dealt, you know, with the circumstances.
What do you think is the role of competitive and positive psychology in a sports person? Even when you're, in the development of this person, all the way from like you being a junior golfer up to that aspiration of a professional golfer?
I think it's very important. Yeah. And oftentimes, a lot of times actually, it's neglected.
There we go.
It's neglected. And I think if we as people prioritize the mental side of sports, not even just golf, sports in general, right? I think the level of performance and even, you know, as an athlete, the mental battles that you go through will be significantly reduced.
So like I mentioned to you that with Momentum Sports, positive psychology and competitive psychology is something that we facilitate, you know, in the build of a holistic sports person, you know, somebody who's good on the field and off the field. And so, like, if you would measure it, like for you, if it was exposed to you when you had the opportunity, what changes or what impact do you think it would have given you?
Oh wow, that's a good question, because I genuinely feel like if these things were exposed to me at a very young age while I was still competing, I think my story would be a bit different. Oh yeah, I'd probably be, you know, on the tour or something, huh? Or on my way there, you know, whether it's even like the tour leading up to the PGA Tour, something. I'd be still competing, and I'd be in a better space mentally in terms of my relationship with the sport.
What do you think is your hardest mental battle? The one that, you know, it very quickly transited from off the fairway onto your life. What was your hardest mental battle?
I would say the pressure to sort of not disappoint. Yeah, and it also carries on to life outside of the sport. But it all stemmed from the sport because, you know, you have your parents who have sent you across the world to a golf academy, you know, to really hone your skills and make the best out of it. But, you know, now all of a sudden, with all these things in the environment, now you're like, okay, I can't fail, or I can't mess up, I can't. So you have this like preconceived pressure that's put on you. Yeah. And again, leading back to the whole psychology thing, if, you know, as an athlete, you have, because we all go through pressure, especially athletes. Oh yeah. If you have someone who you can relate to, talk to about these things, wow, goes a long way.
So tell me something. In your junior days, it's not about the hard stuff. What were your key highlights?
My key highlights.
Yeah, I know you just, you're David the Great for a reason. Man. I know. So like, what are your key highlights? What do you sit down and say, you know what, I can celebrate this? What are those like?
Well, I've had very many good junior moments, particularly when I was, you know, 10, 11. Had a couple success in, you know, tournaments, the Junior Golf Series.
Tell us about those.
Yeah, you know, like I've even won at the Murigi Junior Open. I've won, I got runners up at the Sigona Match Play. I've also won the Junior Stroke Play at Mudaiga when I was about 11. I won my age division. And then most recently, my last tournament that I won was the first ever US Kids tournament that they held in Kenya.
There we go.
To me, that was my last tournament. It was actually the tournament that I always refer to as, I was in such a flow state playing that tournament, right? I was in such a relaxed state. Yeah. Everything just seemed to be going right, to be working. Yeah. I would make a bogey, be like, you know, it's fine, man. The birdie's coming.
I know.
2 holes later, birdie comes. You know, the whole tournament was a good experience. Then I also won the JGF series at Sigona, JGF series at VetLab. In fact, those two, including the US Kids, all came within a span of 3 months. So I want to say, and this was in 2021. So from about August of 2021 till December of 2021, I mean, I was playing golf that
It's amazing.
it was amazing. And it all goes back to telling myself there's no pressures.
There
You
we
know,
go.
you're not doing it competitively anymore.
Yeah.
Just go out there and play for fun.
Yeah.
Works wonders.
It's a very
Yeah.
good approach, isn't it?
Such a good approach.
Yeah.
Such a
When
good
you actually just sit and tell yourself, you know what,
Yeah.
I'll do this. Do you think if you applied the same approach
Mm.
and play competitively, it would work?
Think
Because
so.
you're competing against yourself.
Think so. Actually, I don't think so. I know so.
Exactly.
Because I'm a living testament.
There we go.
Those 3 tournaments that came in the span of 3 months.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the processing that you've actually taken yourself through to get yourself into that state of saying, you know what, this is how I'm going to engage.
Yeah.
What do you think about mentoring other younger, the younger, you know, like, let me say, because you're still in the junior, whatever. So
Sure.
another lot,
Younger.
junior. Yeah. So what do you think about mentoring them, you know, and putting them in a state of understanding that, you know what, free gear sometimes works. Because indeed, yes, there's a lot of pressure and everything, but I truly don't think it's yours to own. You know, it's not
Not at
yours to own. The only responsibility you have is to be super amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll be doing the sport a huge favor.
Yeah.
Most importantly, I'll be doing myself a huge favor.
Yes.
Being a service to the younger generation, right?
Exactly.
Because what's the word? When you do an experiment on something.
Tried and tested.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah. I'm
know?
actually looking for the word.
Yeah.
I don't want to call you a sample.
Statistic.
Statistic, yes.
But anyway, you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes. I can.
So I feel like I owe it to the people coming after me to give them some wisdom, or coming before me rather, to give them wisdom that will help them propel, you know, into whatever it is they want to do with the sport.
I think so too, and I do agree. And one of the things that is so exciting is, and I wouldn't like you to, you know, close on that chapter yet, because you still have the skill set.
I do.
And you have and you know your craft very well. It's still okay, because if you look at the environment that the golf space is in right now, it's guys like you that are going to come up and still fan the fire of excellence.
True.
You know, because you have the basics, having gone to an amazing junior academy, and you've won severally a million times. So you do understand the dynamics of the game. You know what it means to lose. You know what it means to win.
Yeah.
In fact, that brings me to the topic. Tell me about your experience playing at your junior school, at the academy, and not really getting the same kind of results that you were getting in Kenya.
Yeah, so, you know, when I first went to America at the age of 13, I was actually in 2 schools.
Okay.
My freshman year, I was in a school in South Carolina, and then my last 3 years of high school, I was in Florida. Now, my first year of high school, I won 1 tournament, played really exceptional, garnered a lot of top 3s in the whole series, and actually won a trip to Scotland.
Oh.
Yeah, for being first in the points list on the tour. And then we got to play, you know, different courses like St. Andrews, the old course, home golf, other courses like Archerfield Links, you know, many other courses. But after that, you know, things had to go a bit downhill. Huh?
Why did they have to? Or they just did?
They just did.
Okay.
You know, and at that point I didn't understand. I thought because I'm playing well, I should always play well.
Yeah.
Now,
As with everybody.
Yeah.
It's not you, it's as with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, because everyone around me was doing so much better, and because, you know, before coming to America, even though I wouldn't win a tournament here, I would still be in contention. Number 3, number 2, but it would be so consistent. I mean, over 3 years.
Yeah.
Then in America, you only have 1 good year of success. Then next year, you're not seeing anything.
Oh,
You know, you start getting in your head like, okay, maybe
I wasn't meant for this.
maybe this sport is not really for me. And that's because also in America, the competition is
Stiff.
very stiff. So competing in such an environment, again, you need someone to
Consistently remind you
consistently remind you.
that you're good at what you do,
Exactly.
and you can actually get to where they are.
Exactly.
But again, it's a great advantage.
Such
You
a great-
actually got to see that. because now you know the global standards that we're looking at when we talk about competition. And when you put yourself out there, like now, for me, I feel like it would feel natural for you to be in an international tournament, the Kenya Opens and all that, because you see, one of the gaps we clearly see is, I don't know whether it's a cultural misfit, when you finally see a global setting coming into your space, and now all of a sudden you're not competing with the guys that you already know. Now there's a totally new lot of people, and they look like they have a different technique and a different this, and that tends to destabilize.
Yeah, you get in your head.
Exactly.
That's what happened to me, actually.
And that's the thing. And so now, one of the things that needs to be happening is that cultural integration. So that now, by the time you feel like, oh, I'm going to be exposed to competitive sport, and with this caliber of people, even in training, you train with them.
Exactly.
You train with them. So you start getting used to the fact that, it's like you want to run, and then tomorrow you're told you're running with the wildlife. You can no longer run with your local, domestic animals.
Of course.
Then you go to the wildlife, and that's where you're going to run, and you set your standards, your pace, and just the basic psychology. So two things that are very, very important. And also when you're going to be having these conversations with your next, let me call them cohort, because there'll be a group of human beings that I would love, and I'm, like I mentioned, super happy to work with you with our Little Giants program.
Correct.
But the essence of it is now, when we are away from the fairways, it is just basically having that conversation of, they don't bite, they can run, they can do bad, so can we.
Exactly.
But so can we. We might be having different techniques, but so can we. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just the other day I realized there are 1,000+ marathons in China.
Can you imagine that?
Why?
We have the greatest amount of runners.
And we have like less than,
Yeah.
Why do they have 1,000+? But you see, it is that thing of, first of all, you want to wonder, where do you run? Where do and they just sit there and create new conditionings. Nothing stops us from doing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So David, beyond the game, who are you?
Wow. That's a very huge question, but I'm going to sum it up into 5 words, right? I'm a very curious person. I would say I'm a very meek person, very calm, very stoic, for lack of a better word. Yeah. Very disciplined.
Yes.
Very driven, and full of love.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does that do for you away from the competition?
I think it propels me into new spaces. It allows me to mingle and meet with, new people, different people. It allows me to, remain on a journey of self-discovery. At the end of the day, I'm still a young person. I don't even think young or old. You can be 60, still discovering yourself.
Sure.
Keeps me on a journey of, seeking wisdom, knowledge, from those around me, from those wise people around me. Also keeps me grounded, right?
Very important.
Yeah.
From the discipline, and let me not say the discipline, from the tenets that you picked up in your training as a junior golfer, and I'm still on the beyond the game aspect.
Yeah.
All the components besides the craft, the intangibles, the discipline, the honesty, the whatever, all those kind of things. And I know that you want to be an entrepreneur. How do the two, or let me say, how do those elements play into what your desire of business and career? How do they help or not?
Yeah, so I think golf is, they call golf the game of life, right? Rightfully so. Because all of these lessons that I've learned actually all stem from golf. And funnily enough, they all carry into anything else that you might want to do as a golfer.
Yeah.
Or even as a regular human being, right? All these lessons, all these things all these traits I've been able to acquire are all going to help me on my entrepreneurial journey.
Correct.
Right? In the sense that, it helps my ability to build relationships with people, my ability to be a good and honest businessman.
There you go.
Very driven and focused businessman. So they merge very, very, very well.
Very well.
Very, very well.
So what would you be your advice to parents who have kids consistently on screen time? What would you tell them? I mean, what would you say besides the fact that you get out and jump? What would be your 2 cents into why should kids get out? Why should they go out and play in a structured format? Why?
Yes. Well, I would say the reason they should get out is because, number one, when you expose yourself to the things that happen outside, you learn, again, lessons that you might not necessarily learn if you're always indoors.
Yep.
The relationships that these kids will forge by even going out on a golf course, going out on a soccer tournament rather than playing Call of Duty on the PlayStation, are friendships that they'll probably have, not forever, but for a very long time. You know, I urge parents to, you know, just push the kids to play sport, you know, as a means of getting out the house.
What does waking up at 6 a.m. for a tee off?
Yeah.
For a 14-year-old
Yeah.
feel like?
Wow. You know, when you're 14 doing those things, to you, you don't think much about it.
Oh, really?
You're just going out to do what you love, right?
You're not cranky like,
Not
hey,
cranky.
this morning.
You're excited.
Oh, yeah.
God, you can't even sleep at night because you're looking forward to the moment you get to wake up by God's grace and go play and perform in the tournament. You know, that's just to do with the level of excitement
Yes.
and the level of love you have for the sport or whatever it is that you do. Beautiful.
I think it's interesting because half of the time, like, I keep reading posts from moms and saying, oh my God, getting my teens out of the house was such a Herculean task. You know, there's always this complaint. And so I tend to wonder, is there, I mean, we need to then start creating passion points for them so that I don't have to drag you out of bed.
Correct.
It actually drives you to do what it's doing.
Yeah.
And then all that then culminates into this person who's already mentally wired and conditioned to do things in a certain way and to be ready for life. Because it's true, I can tell you, as a sports person, there are certain disciplines, you know, like for me, when I played basketball and then I ran cross country, there was a lot of training that came into play and when you're swimming. So sometimes when you're facing life and you ask yourself, there's a day coach made us train in the rain and his argument would always be like, you won't break down, you won't dissolve, you won't whatever. Now, walking through the rain, really, when half of Nairobi is going crazy, for me, I'm like, you know what? I won't dissolve. I'll get to where I'm going. I'd rather be safe, you know. So it is true. It is true that there's that need to then start inculcating, you know, those little nuggets or self navigation points, which you put inside. And this compass just goes around redirecting your thinking. So before you start screaming at your authorities, remember, yo, I can't yell at coach. So I can't yell at this person. So it is true.
And you know what I'll say? Is that even though your children wouldn't even realize it now, best believe in 5-10 years, the very same lessons that you're teaching them, they will come back to and actually remember, oh, wow, I see why mom was doing that, or I see why dad was doing that. Because, you know, it's, aside from conscious, it's more so subconscious. Right? All the more you do these things, subconsciously they get instilled in the child's mind. And so naturally what happens is along their journey in life, they will eventually gravitate to the very same teachings that you use.
In psychology, we say that before you're 13 years old, everything we put into you then becomes the foundation of what is going on. So if essentially you're just driven by Call of Duty and whatever, then you start thinking that life is a silo. You know, that you can win individually. Yet you cannot win as an individual. It's an element of teamwork. It's an element of allowing other people, and you need to accommodate them with whatever they come through. And that is what accommodating a team looks like. That is what it means playing on a 4-ball and you're wondering, why are you doing it?
You know, funnily enough, it's so crazy you say that because golf is an individual sport. So for me, believe it or not, allowing people to do other things for me, allowing myself to be in a team setting is something that I've had to also teach myself, because motocross as well, I used to do motocross, is also like golf in the sense that it's individual. As soon as you put on that helmet, motocross, it's just you and the bike. And golf, it's just you and the ball. Sure, you have people around you playing with you.
Yeah.
But they're not hitting the ball for you.
Yeah.
So golf teaches you how to be very independent. But like you said,
there's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
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 The bottom line is there's an ecosystem around you.
Yeah.
There's your coach. There's somebody who tells you how you eat. There's somebody who teaches you the rules. There's somebody. You may necessarily like execute alone, but there's a strategy around it that involves other people. You know, and that is what I'm talking about. It is true. Golf teaches you an element of leadership because you collect all those learnings, then you decide what to do with them. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how it gets there.
Yeah.
And and what makes me very, very proud of someone like you is because you've allowed yourself to go through that process. So leadership for you comes naturally because you now know how to make those decisions, how to, review it. And then, so much later, if you're put in a situation where it requires introspection, review, reconfiguration, very, very quick.
Easy.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Excellent.
Yeah.
I think, I wanted to ask, if you would design a dream course that represented your life's journey,
wow,
what would the 18th hole look like?
Oh my days.
What would the 18th hole look like?
The 18th hole in particular?
Yes.
Well, what I will say is the first 9 will have a lot of nooks and crannies, hills, very rocky, very difficult.
It would be a very hard course.
The first 9.
Okay.
As we move on to the back 9, the back 9 will start to get a bit easier.
Okay.
A bit more soft-spoken, a bit wider, flatter fairways. If you mishit it, you still have a chance to make par.
Yeah.
But the 18th hole, wow. I think the 18th hole will be like a celebration hole. It'll be a very big clubhouse surrounding the green. There'll be lush fairway. The fairway will be very lush, very huge trees.
I see it.
I don't see it being a dog leg. I see it being very straightforward.
Correct.
Just to sort of resemble, coming to the finish line.
Excellent.
In a marathon, the finish line is not, bends.
No. Straight on. I can see you
you can see the finish line.
I can see you from so far coming. I'm screaming at you.
So for me,
to keep coming at it.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, that representation of the 18th hole is what you're yet to come to.
Yes.
And I'm really, really excited that you have that vision of how that celebration is going to be like.
Correct.
And I do pray that we're going to be there to build it together.
Yes.
And to see, come it to life, because truly yours is an exceptional journey.
Wow.
And I must tell you, like I always tell you, you're a star. Yeah. You're a star in all manners and definitions. I think being able to, at 13, being able to move to another country and just choose to, frame your mind into, oh my God, I'm all alone, I need to do it. Requires a level of strength, even full-grown men, most would not have,
Yeah.
So indeed, we do celebrate you.
Thank you so much.
And we are happy that you're in our lives.
Thank you so much.
And we are great that we are very honored that our junior golfers would get exposure from someone like you. And I think you'd be an amazing big brother.
Thank you so much.
Isn't it?
I do want to commend Momentum Sports.
Thank you.
I really like what it is that you're doing. I see, this being such a trend or a trailblazer in the whole niche, whole industry.
Yeah.
So I urge you to stay at it, keep doing it.
Let's do this. Yo.